03. That is my breakfast time check. I'm a breakfast DJ. Got to get those time checks in. Now we've got a good hour coming up, a sizzling 60 minutes ahead. Royal Watch with Charlie Ray in just a moment. Also Nigel Pawley with all the showbiz news. Sharon Osbourne's got the sack, or she's quit anyway. Find out why. Also we'll be talking about vaccine certificates. If you want to go to a rock festival or a big sporting event this summer after we're allowed to be free, looks like you might have to prove you've had the jab. So another area of debate there concerning the contentious issue of vaccine passports. Do you want them? I don't, but I suspect they're inevitable. Much to talk about there. But before we get to all that, let's talk about the Union Jack. Rather quietly this week, the UK government issued instructions to all public buildings, town halls and the like, that they shall or they must now fly the Union Jack, the national flag, 365 days a year, 24/7. I haven't seen too many public buildings adorned with our flag since then, and I wonder just how many town halls will comply. Let's talk to Andrew Allison from the Freedom Association. Good morning, Andrew.
Morning, Kevin.
Yes, so there's been a lot of talk about flags lately. Of course, the BBC got itself involved in quite a row involving Nagaman Chetty and Charlie State, the breakfast host, who appeared to mock the flag to Robert Jenrick because he was displaying them in his office at the Ministry of Housing. And now the government is keen, or not keen, it has actually told all councils to put Union Jacks on their buildings 24/7, 365 days a year. I've got this suspicion lots of councils won't comply, but what do you think of the instruction? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I do think it's a good idea. I mean, we should be proud of the flag. I mean, I've got the flag
I've
behind me.
got your one behind you, I can see that, yes.
Yeah, that's been in my office since last August.
And I've got one behind me as well.
Yours is bigger than mine, Kevin.
Yeah. Let's not get into that. But anyway.
But I mean, you go to the United States and you see the Star-Spangled Banner flown everywhere. Indeed, you go into Europe and you see lots of national flags flown everywhere. You certainly do in Paris, the French flag. So, yeah, let's do it. But I think you're right. There'll be some sort of left-wing council, shall we say, that will not want to do it.
As part of this new initiative on the part of the government is to tell councils that if they want to carry on flying the European flag, and by the way, perhaps these councils should be informed that we have left the EU, but if they want to, as many of them do, fly that blue flag with the yellow stars all over it, they're going to have to apply for special permission. In other words, the government is saying enough of this EU flag. It is a bit absurd, isn't it?
Well, it is, but why would they want to fly the EU flag? As you said, we've left the European Union. There's absolutely no reason to fly the EU flag. Although I did see a tweet from Andrew Adonis, surprise, surprise, saying, I love this flag. And there it was, the EU flag, but Christina Jordan, who was a Brexit Party MEP, said, I rather love this flag. And she just showed an image of all the Union Jacks lining the Mall right up to Buckingham Palace. But there's no reason to fly the EU flag. It's a pretty awful flag anyway.
Yes, it certainly is now in terms of Britain, but we know why they're flying this flag. The real instruction is basically this, that you will fly, and this is to all town halls, you will fly the Union Jack, but you are free to fly another flag as well by application. In other words, a lot of local councils might decide their county flag is appropriate. In Scotland, they can fly the Saltaire, and so on and so forth. So it's not a complete diktat that thou shalt fly just the Union Jack. I mean, it's a fairly reasonable instruction. But why do you think that this country, we saw the BBC row last week, what is the problem that we have with our national flag? Why do we find it such a contentious issue? Surely it's just sort of basic love of your country, basic patriotism. Why don't we fly our flag more?
It's a good question. I think in the past, the likes of the National Front tried to hijack the Union Jack. Yeah. And quite often people who were seen waving the Union Jack then were of that far-right persuasion. That's a long time ago. But if you look up in Scotland, the SNP have tried to hijack the Saltire, the cross of St Andrew. Some of the Welsh nationalists have tried to hijack the Welsh flag. So I think it's about time that pro-unionists brought the flag back into ownership, shall we say. But I mean, it's a fantastic flag. As you say, councils and other public bodies in different parts of the UK can fly their different flags. Here, where I am in Beverley in East Yorkshire, the local council flies a Yorkshire flag. And why not? Let's be proud of your county, proud of your country.
Yes, and actually, may I say, I think it's a very dramatic flag. It's one of the world's better flags. Yes. So we should be proud of it, even in an artistic sense.
Yeah, very much so. And that's one of the reasons why I have it behind me. I think if it had been a boring old flag, I wouldn't bother. But I just look at it and I look at the complexity of it. And it's so distinctive and it's so beautiful. It's a bit like the Star-Spangled Banner, actually. You instinctively know that it's the American flag. And I like really distinctive flags. So, yeah, we should be proud of it. As for the BBC, well, I think we know that they would rather fly the EU flag than the Union Jack any day, because
they'd rather fly any flag but the Union Jack.
But well, precisely because we know it's been pointed out on many occasions that they forget what the first B actually stands for.
Yeah.
Instead of representing Britain around the world, it seems to be ashamed of Britain around the world. But all those two, Charlie States and Nagamon Chetty, got was a little rap across the knuckles, and that's it, really, isn't it?
If I was the government, I would extend this instruction to the BBC. Just say you're a publicly funded organisation, as such, a kind of national state broadcaster, a representative of this country. So we also require you, the British Broadcasting Corporation, to fly the Union Jack on all of your buildings. I would issue them that instruction and see what happened. If they did, what do you reckon would happen?
We'll have to do it, wouldn't they? They couldn't be seen to be breaking the law. But you're right, it is a publicly funded institution. If we want to watch live telly, we have to fund the BBC, even though we may not want to watch the BBC. I mean, don't get me on the license fee. I mean, that should be scrapped. But yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, the BBC should be proud of this country. Should be flying the flag literally and metaphorically for this country. Let's do it.
I've also heard that people on the right side of the political fence, as in right wing, Tories, saying that they deplore the increasing tendency of government ministers, government representatives, of like yourself, putting a Union Jack behind them while they're speaking on television or radio, which of course now is very much on screen as well. Why are even Tories attacking ministers for doing this? It seems to me to be a harmless token of their patriotism.
Well, there are Tories and there are Tories, aren't there, Kevin? I mean, since David Cameron, and he brought in a lot of people who are never really regarded as conservative, they're just sort of conservative.
Including David Cameron.
Well, including David Cameron, exactly. I mean, I don't know why they want to think like that. Why can't we just be proud of our country, proud of our flag? I mean, going back to that BBC breakfast thing, I mean, could you imagine a US talk host trying to mock or ridicule a congressman or a senator, be it a Democrat or Republican, for having a flag in the background?
They get fired. They get fired. Simple as that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just wouldn't cross their minds to even do it, because they're proud of their flag, they're proud of their country. And there's just too many people here who just don't seem to be proud of our flag and proud of our country and proud of what Britain has achieved and what it can achieve in the future.
Well, they always do say, well, the problem is that it's not the flag itself, but the Union Jack has been hijacked by far-right organisations. So what? Let's hijack it back.
Well, exactly. That's what I said before. I mean, yes, the National Front has been associated with the Union Jack, but that was quite a long time ago. We don't hear the National Front anymore. We haven't heard about them for, years, decades probably now. Let's hijack it back. Let's be proud of it. Yeah, I totally agree.
And this is part of wider plans in the coming year to celebrate and protect the Union. Do you think that when Scottish buildings are required to fly the Union Jack, there may be trouble ahead?
Oh, well, there's always trouble ahead with the SNP. And now, of course, we've got Alex Salmond's Alba party as well, just to throw into the mix along with George Galloway. I think the one thing about the Scottish elections this year is they're going to be quite fun. They're going to be rather interesting. But please remember, though, in the 2014 referendum, 55% of Scots said they wanted to remain in the Union. So there's still a majority there.
Going back to the flag, I think there's a dichotomy between what the BBC and various left-wingers seem to feel about the flag, and what I think the vast majority of ordinary citizens feel about it. So what I would suggest, Andrew, is that the population of this country reclaim the flag.
And the population of this country is proud of our country. I mean, it's clear. It's only these sort of metropolitan liberal elite types that are ashamed of it. And the majority of British people are sensible people, patriotic people, and so let the majority win out.
Yes, and the majority also accept that, yes, you can say that bad things happened during our colonial phase, that imperialism, not only on the part of Britain, but also all sorts of Western countries, had some adverse effects. But that's history. You know, you can't say, oh, let's not fly the flag because, 200 years ago we weren't very nice in Africa.
No, you can't. And you've got to remember that when the slave trade was abolished, the Royal Navy lost many lives. Many sailors died in trying to stop those slave ships going from Africa across the Atlantic Ocean. We do have things that we're not that proud of, but we also have a lot of things that we should be proud of. And we can't live in the past. It's like calling people racist, isn't it? And Churchill a racist. I mean, if you go back far enough, everyone was a racist. Well, there wasn't a non-racist in the country. You're right about colonial powers, European colonial powers, but it is all history. It's what we do now and what we do in the future that matters.
Yeah, I think one of the real crises we've got going right now is trying to learn to live with history. I mean, things happened in the past. Why is it we suddenly, all of a sudden, we as a nation, in fact, people all over the world, can't handle history, can't handle what happened, apologizing for the actions of people who died 300 years ago. I can't think of anything more absurd and pointless ever. Listen, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. Really interesting discussion. Andrew Allison there from the Freedom Association. Let's bring